Good morning, friends. Did you know that you can see the infinite creator every single morning in your mirror? You can see God, that God, the God of the Old Testament, the God of the New Testament, the God that people all over the world are talking about all the time. You can see that every morning in your mirror. Good morning, Wanderers, and welcome to Wanderer Radio, broadcasting to you live outside Lakeside. This is Oz. Thank you for joining me today. Look at this gloriousness. Ooh, beauty. This morning, I'm going to be talking about the physiology of ascension and the physiology of ascension as a broad category is something that I'm going to revisit on an ongoing basis, looking at different topics because there are many. Wanderers tend to be on the path of ascension, meditation, and practices like that, working on things for the conscious purpose of ascension. Once one becomes aware of the concept at all, one then has the option to engage in, just want to make sure that was working, sorry, engage in practices of accelerating the ascension process. But of course, this can be nebulous, it can be heady, it can be a lot about mind stuff and mental models, and I talk a lot about that kind of stuff here on Wanderer Radio, but we're also connected to the creation. We have our form in the body while we're here, and the form is loaded with all kinds of information, feedback, and cues. So then we can ask, well, are there physical cues that can be a physiological experience of ascension and helpful to us in understanding if we're on the right path toward our individual pursuits? I've been rope sawing some of the lower hanging limbs on these trees out here where they hadn't been attended to in a while. So if you're an avid and frequent viewer of Wanderer Radio, you might notice over time the branches clearing up, at least along the lower part of it here. The rope sawing is interesting. I'm pretty good with it. The throw is the hardest part. People complain about the sawing, and it is a lot of, you're like this for a long time. But the throw is what's hard, getting the rope in the right place. Once I get that done, I just zen out and do the sawing. But anyway, just keeping you all abreast of what is going on in the natural environment here. Today's topic of physiology of ascension specifically is Frisson. Frisson is a good way to describe it might be if you are to imagine you're driving down the road and maybe you've had a tough day or whatever and you're trying to let the day go. And all of a sudden, this song comes on the radio. And it's a song you haven't heard in a very long time, but it's a song that had a lot of meaning to you at one point in your life, let's say. And when you hear that song come on, you might say, oh, this song. And you lean over to the dial and you turn the volume up. And then you kind of, the feeling is as if you block everything of the everyday 3D world out of your mind so that the only thing that exists is you and this song. And when this is attained, you will feel a sensation often referred to as chills. You will feel a chills sensation going all through your body as if your nervous system has really awakened, has really felt a jolt. It will travel all through your body. Personally, I would describe this feeling in a lot of ways. There's a particular word I'm going for, but first I would start with some others. Wonderful, pleasurable, peaceful, ecstatic, exhilarating, exciting. I don't know too many people who would say they don't like this feeling. Probably people would universally agree, however they would describe it. They think they would universally agree the feeling is awesome. Frisson, aka chills. The word that I find best to associate with that sensation is exaltation. Frisson is a feeling of exaltation. I want to ask you a question. Be honest with yourself here. When was the last time you felt frisson? When was the last time? Perhaps some of you can recall easily. Maybe you experience it regularly in meditation. But for some, for many, it might be a while. Regardless of whenever the last time was, how often in your life would you say you've experienced frisson? When you think about it, for most people, it's really not very many, or it's not very often. It's once in a while. If you collect it all together and you aggregate the amount of time during one's life that is spent experiencing the sensation of frisson, I think it would probably, for most people, be a very small amount of time. And wouldn't that be a bummer if one were to associate a best word for it, as I do, in thinking of it as exaltation? In other words, how much exaltation do you feel in your life? How often do you feel exaltation? When is the last time you felt exalted? And my dog is barking to go out. I knew this would happen on this broadcast eventually, so I will leave you to enjoy the lake for a few moments, and I will be right back. Not sure if she's visible in the shot. I'm hoping that she is. I don't know. I can't see her in the shot. Anyway, there she is. Here's my review of Wanderer Radio. Low. I can't believe you would say that. Yeah, this is what I think of this operation, this whole endeavor. Lo, you're supposed to be man's best friend. Why are you not being supportive? And now your deuce is gonna be in the middle of the shot for the. Where are you going? You're not even low. Okay, where was I? Yeah. What are you doing? Oh, you're a little constipated, are you? Well, there you go. Yeah, it's like that. It's one of those days. I have to let her back in, so I may as well do that before I can continue on with this topic. Anyway, we're live. Okay, so before that little wondering, I was offering to you a challenge to imagine or recall the last time you experienced Frisson. And by extension, my description that I like, the feeling of Frisson, exaltation. If such experiences are few and far between, my next question would be, why settle for that? Why is that okay? Is a little burst of exaltation every 3 months sufficient? Is that what a child of the Creator, is that what the experience of being here is supposed to be? A little dollop of exaltation every 3 months or so, maybe? Is that what the Creator had in mind for you? Question. Can this feeling be courted? Can we, as an act of willful intention, can we change that? Let's suppose just for a moment that you do your self-assessment and you decide the amount of Frisson you experience is very little compared to how wonderful the experience is for you when you have it. That exaltation might be rare for you, or in your estimation, too rare for what you, I guess for a lack of better term, deserve. As a child of the Creator, as an instance, a fractal of God, do you deserve better than exaltation once every 3 months? This feeling of Frisson, this feeling of exaltation is so core to our beingness. It's happening on a very, very primal level and resonating and manifesting within the nervous system. So that's why we're feeling that chills sensation is a nervous system reaction. So it's very primal. Our nervous system is very fundamental. And in other words, she's mad because I'm sitting outside and she's inside. Well, I'll have to figure out something to keep her occupied when I'm wandering. Okay, so let's just suppose you decide that your amount of Frisson or exaltation, beingness with your Creator, let's just say you don't think that it's really enough when you do your self-assessment. Can you willfully affect this? The answer in my discernment I present to you is yes. And there are a lot of ways to do this, and you can do this in a lot of, there are infinite varieties of meditation, but some forms of it pursue Frisson, and you can do that. But what I find to be the most direct path for me in my experience is, first and foremost, when you hear that song while you're shopping at the store or driving in the car or at your friend's house or something, when you hear that song, and pieces of music just have a very direct access way to do this, it seems, in my experience, when you hear that and you feel Frisson, do not let that slip away. Don't let that data just go into the ether. Don't let that moment just be that moment. Capture that song however you can do it. Put it in a little notepad on your phone or something. Have a playlist somewhere where you are capturing these songs and these pieces of music. Could be classical music, could be literally anything. It's going to be unique to every single one of us. And your collection of Frisson-inducing songs is going to be different from everybody else's. That said, if you want something to help maybe get you going a little bit with this, if you want to embark on this project, there is a playlist here on my channel where I'm streaming, which I've titled Frisson, and it is a collection of songs that successfully initiate this Frisson exaltation feeling within me. Of course, there is absolutely no guarantee whatsoever that a single one of these pieces of music will inspire that feeling in you. But what I do know with a certainty is that there are pieces of music out there that can do it if you are open. So anyway, the thing is, even my playlist with those songs, I have to keep rotating it out, because even when you find them, they only work for so long. There's a certain amount of newness and novelty, and you're kind of wringing it like a towel. You're wringing all the water, you're wringing all the frisson out of that song. And it's possible, of course, that you might wring it out dry and then come back to it sometime later and find that it works again for a while. But the point is, this is a bit of a moving target. And that's why I would encourage you to always be on the hunt and have this playlist populating and aggregating. And then when you're taking time for yourself, mindfulness time, whether you're meditating or whatever you do to center and balance yourself, I offer to you that it is an exercise you can engage in which you play those pieces of music from that playlist and you try to willfully court frisson. If my experience is of any value on offer, this works. You will increase the amount of frisson you experience in your life dramatically using this process literally as much as you want, as much time as you want to dedicate or put into it. You will increase the amount of frisson, therefore increasing the amount of exaltation that you experience in your life. This is not a feeling that should be rare. This is a feeling that is a birthright to you as a child of the Creator. This is the exaltation is what your Creator would prefer you were feeling 24/7. And maybe that's where we're going with all of this. What would 24/7 exaltation feel like? How would you compare the experience that you're having in your journey through this creation to one that looks in form exactly the same in every way, continues as normal to the outside eye, but to the experiencer, you, it goes from one of confusion and turmoil and issues and past and future, and it becomes a different experience, one of exaltation. Does that sound like a better way to exist in comparison to how you might be existing now? This is a question for your discernment. Is she still? Man, I feel like something. I don't know where I caught a reflection of something, a squirrel or something walking by, and it just caused me a double take, but I don't see it now. Anyway. Your creator would have it that the child's experience is exaltation 24/7, or at least willfully available on demand. I'm going to take this a bit deeper for a moment here. And I'm going to suggest something very interesting. And you can observe this in your own experience if you decide to engage Frisson into your wellness. Again, this is healing. This is profound healing at a very deep level prior to even the nervous system. But then we're feeling it in the nervous system. This is spiritual healing, mind healing, consciousness healing. Add more exaltation into your life on a regular basis and tell me you don't start feeling better. The more regularly you add the feeling of frisson or the feeling of exaltation, I would not be surprised. I'm not a doctor. I'm not here putting medical whatnot out there. It's like this is an esoteric space. But hey, if you're tracking things with your Western medicine physicians and physiologies and tests and stuff like that, then wouldn't it be interesting? Perhaps some of these measures would improve through the introduction of routine and regular frisson. I don't know if that's something one would have to kind of examine within oneself, starting with, first and foremost, of course, whatever one's relationship with Western medicine might be, allopathic medicine. It's my assertion that every single entity in this creation has an improved experience of beingness when there is an increased amount of frisson, aka chills, exaltation in their life. I believe as perhaps eons of evolution transpire for us as a humanity or individually, it is widely believed in the spiritual journey that we come to release things like what's referred to as a heavy chemical body, this a physical body. We release things like that and we become lighter and more ethereal and more holographic, more and more luminous. But we will still be experiencing feeling. And in fact, we will know ourselves as feeling much more than we do now. Now we associate ourselves a lot with our thinking and the way we think and how our knowledge and our information and our eventually our wisdom, how this all works and all of this mind stuff. But over time, we let that go more and more, and we experience the creation more and more through feeling. And it is therefore my assertion also that long after the body is gone and many of the bodily experiences that we know and understand now, long after that's gone, frisson will still be part of our existence and our experience. In fact, a much more greater part. It will be a very powerful part of our communication and our understanding and the signals that tell us, go this way, go that way, follow this impulse or that impulse. Frisson has been and will be with us. So it's very primal is what I'm saying. It's very fundamental. It's very healing. And what the puzzling kind of challenge that I want to present to you, because I found this in my own experience, and I believe it would be the case for others too. You might put your playlist together, and you might dedicate some time on a particular day, say 20 minutes maybe, and you listen to a handful of songs. And maybe it doesn't work a time or two, but maybe you really think this can work, and you want to dedicate yourself to making it work, and you keep at it. Eventually, the moment will come. You'll have your moment of willfully tapping into that experience, and it will be quite rewarding and gratifying and amazing to feel that feeling and think of it in a context of, I did that willfully. I willfully invited this and then experienced it. And that feels very powerful, because that means all of a sudden, perhaps for the first time in your life, you have willful control over your own feeling of exaltation. You can have as much exaltation as you feel you deserve. But what we can run into, depending on where we're at in our journey and how much distortion we're still wrestling with and things like that, you can find this experience of exaltation, especially when you're willfully magnifying it. You can find it to be so powerful, you'll just break through in tears. They initially, these will be tears of joy. But in this tears of joy is an extremely fast resonance. And we are beings that are creating a lot of duality. We are carrying a lot of duality. We're sorting through our duality in this place. That's one of the ways you could describe what we're doing here when we wake up with amnesia and wander around on Earth for 100 years. Why are we doing that? Well, one of the reasons that we're doing it is to work on our understanding of duality and approach a more non-dual existence and understanding. Perhaps a more straightforward way of saying that is, we bring our nightmares into this place and we experience our nightmares in a recurring fashion, you could say, until we learn the lessons that are hidden within them, and then they leave us alone. This is a very visceral and tangible way to do that. It's a very fast way, and you probably chose to be here because of the speed that it offers for all of these reasons. I wandered there. Don't know exactly what pathway opened up for me for that wandering, but we wander back. The point is, when we initially experience or open up this incredible spike in frequency, it's a very, very high frequency that this Frisson is operating on, very high frequency. So when you open up the channel in the Eastern tradition, the energy centers, the chakra centers, or the channels, when you open that up, and the energy flows and it peaks, and you hit that frequency and you open up that Frisson, it is joy, it is love, it is exaltation, it is everything per my discernment that I am offering to yours. I believe all of that is true. But when we experience an extremely high frequency, we bring our duality to the table. What that means is, as capable as we are of seeing the frequencies here as either love or fear, if somebody hands us an extremely high frequency, it is love, but our duality that we have within us allows us the opportunity to see that same high frequency of love as fear. We could equate this to the experience of being too high. I'm feeling too high. And this is an ongoing back and forth that everyone on the Ascension pathway is engaging in. All of these things that we call grounding, those are all the braking mechanisms that allow us to slow down our ascension. We don't stop it. It's always going, at least a little bit. It's built that way. It is another birthright. Your ascension will always go forward and upward, but But the speed of it is within your control using grounding mechanisms. And the duality that we're working out within ourselves is the reason we embrace the grounding. We grab onto the ground, literally crouch down like you're crouching down to your knees and grab onto the grass. That's grounding. And why are you doing that? Because you're ascending, you are floating upward. It is a non-physical experience, but the manifest physical one would be that of a elevating, ascending light feeling. And so all of our grounding practices, whether it's stuff that's typically regarded as mindful, like tree hugging or barefoot in the grass, or, people are using alcohol, people are using other things for these same things. People are using loud, chaotic, crazy music. People are using ideas of atheism. People are using their traumas and pains and sufferings and agonies. All of these things are things that they're not haunting us. They're not shackling us. We are grabbing onto them. We are holding on to them, holding on tight. Because the ascension is happening to us, and we might feel like our dualities are not quite ironed out enough to be that high, and we will feel too high if we let that go. So we ground. I'm suggesting to you, with the whole of today's Wanderer Radio broadcast, that the act of willful engagement with Frisson could be thought of, in effect, as the absolute opposite of grounding. It is like willful enlightening, willful, intentional enlightening. And quite a while ago in this broadcast now, I wandered off the path where I was hopefully enticing you with a self-experiment related to this. And I never got to the point which I'm going to get to now. If you engage in this practice and it opens you up and you have some really powerful experiences, I'm going to suggest to you that I'm not going to suggest to you that you're going to do this. I'm going to suggest that on your own, you will decide not to engage in the practice the next day, and perhaps not even the day after that. And I just mention that because I believe that the reason that that happens is precisely because of how powerful the practice is. In my experience, it is so opening, it is so elevating, it is so enlightening that it will really take whatever duality baggage I'm carrying all the way to the frequency that I'm going to crash into it straight on. Over time, I've found that I can engage, in my personal experience and path, I can engage with Frisson more and more and more. And I do it more and more and more. But till this day, it remains a practice that I feel like there can be a lot of a good thing. And it can get to be a lot. And it is a feeling and an experience that when we engage with it as a practice on something of a regular, it will then have a benefit or an aspect to it, a benefit per your definition, if you see it that way, but there is an aspect to it that then transcends the individual moments or blocks of time that we carve out to do the practice. There will then be aspects of the sense of it that will transcend it. and are going on all the time. Now they're subtle, so I don't want, I don't want people to think, oh my God, I'm going to unlock chills and all of a sudden I'm going to be feeling pure chills like that 24/7. I realize that that can sound like an overwhelmingly good thing, like too much of a good thing that you'd want to be able to ground or put the brakes on. It's not like that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if the experience tracks anything like mine, it would be one of a very elevated state when it's willfully reached for, but with enough practice and enough frequency, that can become a lower, more subtle state, but still elevated from where I started, and that goes continuously. If I'm keeping it up, it's kind of like working out at the gym, I guess, keeping your body in shape. It's kind of like that. You can keep this in shape. You can keep your nervous system in shape, so to speak, using Frisson. You can think of it as exercise. You can think of it as the gym for your nervous system. And you can do this Frisson and you can bring this up within you. And anyway, if a subtle level of it can then start to occur 24/7, and let's just say you can notch that baseline level up over time 24/7. And let's just say we don't know what the ceiling is on that. We don't know what the cap is. We don't understand where it has to stop. Well, maybe that means if we remain in balance with it, we can keep notching it up and notching it up and notching it up until what? 24/7 exaltation, just as your creator imagined it for you. Look at that. And it's got to be, looks like about 25 to 30 to me. Wow. Oh, love it. Let's just breathe for a moment here, a few moments. And if you're with me here, see if you can cultivate, court, and excite. Feel within you Frisson. This might be the best analogy I've come up with in the whole video, but just think of it like an ember. It's like an ember, and you're too much forcefulness and you just blow it out. But if you don't do anything, nature will blow it out. So you just gently cultivate it. Frisson. Let's see what we can find. Okay, well, for me personally, in doing that little bit there, I was able to feel an elevated sense I would describe it as kind of the precursor to the feeling when that frisson really breaks through, or the chills really break through. However, did not experience chills, but this is a numbers game, and the more opportunities throughout the day you can find to try it. Try it when you're taking a pee. I'm not kidding. You might think I'm kidding, but as this release is happening physiologically, if you willfully go for Frisson, I'm just giving people the straight dirt. I want you to really know where to find it and how to find it. I'll tell you, under every rock, I find the Frisson I will share with you on an ongoing basis. So this particular broadcast has been Physiology of Ascension. I'll be talking about Physiology of Ascension in a lot more areas, because Frisson is just one of many places I believe Ascension peeks through from the non-physical into the physical and gives us feedback, measurements, and manners by which we can gauge our progress and feel better and feel healthier. The Wanderer's work begins first with the self, described kind of like the way you see the thing on the airplane. It always says to the adult, first put your own mask on, then put on the mask of your child. I'm very curious, how many planes have been falling out of the sky and the parent has put their mask on first? I'm guessing that never happened. 100% of the time, planes falling out of the sky, parent is going to put that mask on the kid first. And if they make it long enough to get their own mask on, okay, cool. But if they don't, the kid's mad. I just don't know why I went to a morbid place there at the end of today's broadcast, but yeah, I think they put the kids' mask on first. Anyway, but what all of the ancient ascended masters and sages, they all tell us, heal yourself and then heal others. And so I believe that the practice of Frisson and other practices of the other cues and feedback we can get through different mechanisms, physiology of ascension mechanisms, it's all are very useful tools to the wanderer or any who see themselves on the path of ascension and the path of light, as we talk about here on Wanderer Radio. So thank you for joining me today, live outside Lakeside on Wanderer Radio, in the love and light of the infinite creator. Much love.